Hello everyone, my name is Sonali Srivastav and I am Assistant Professor at School of Media, Film and Entertainment, Sharda University. In this module, we shall be discussing about newsworthiness, news sources, getting the story, running short of ideas. Newsworthiness. Before getting ready to gather a news story, one should understand what exactly does the term news means. So, Charles Dana defines the news in a very simple words. According to him, when a dog bites a man, that is not a news, but when a man bites a dog, that is news. Now please understand the statement. Dog biting a man is a very common behavior, whereas if I say that a man has bitten a dog, this information is rare and thus become newsworthy, which means that the news is something unusual, uncommon or something that people don't know. In a simpler words, news is something which is new and exciting to the people. So, being a reporter, before working on a news story, one should first find out whether the information is newsworthy or not. Journalism is not at all about fiction writing, which means that you cannot create stories from your imagination. You have to find newsworthy topics worth writing about. Only such information which has some newsworthiness can be considered as news. Now the question arises, how can one find such information and what are those elements which can make any information newsworthy? Timeliness. The very first and important element of newsworthiness is timeliness, which means that whatever information you are going to present before your audience should be new and should be presented immediately. Human interest. The second element that should be there in the information is the story should be of human interest or of national interest. For example, audience will only be interested if your story is of their interest or in the interest of nation. Hence, it is the most important element to be kept in mind while searching for the story. Proximity. The third element which a journalist should consider for a newsworthy story is proximity. Proximity means surroundings. So, anything that happens nearby to our area or has been taken from our surroundings, we really are curious to know about that rather than about the incidents which happened far from my area. Prominence. Prominence says or describes how big the story is. If the story is about any person or incident that I don't know, I will be having least interest in watching that story. But at the same time, if the story is about a celebrity or about any mega event or incident that happened in the country, everyone will be interested and curious to know about that story. A very good example can be taken in the case of the famous actor Sushant Singh Rajput. Being a popular TV actor, the audience were very much connected with the actor and he was into the heart of billions of people. After his demise, everyone wanted to know the reason of his suicide, and that is the reason why the story was hugely covered by all the Indian television news channels. Similarly, Kisan Andolan was majorly covered and appeared as a highlighted news in all the Indian and international TV news channels for many days. Consequences. The next element which defines newsworthiness is consequences, which means any story which is going to affect the viewers in any such ways. As a human being, we are not interested in knowing anything which is not affecting us directly or indirectly. Conflict. The last element which makes a story newsworthy is the conflict, which means if the information has any kind of surprise element, it is considered as new version. These were some points on the basis of which a reporter or a journalist can decide whether the information is newsworthy or not. After this, the reporter has to decide if the information he has collected falls into which category, whether it is a hard news or a soft news. Basically, the news is of two types, the hard news and the soft news. Hard news is the news which has happened recently and which has to be updated on a minute-to-minute basis after it has taken place. Basically, the hard news belongs to politics, foreign affairs, business or economics, international news and crime. Soft news is basically a story which is not to be shared on an immediate basis. It may be a follow-up story of any of the hard news shared. In general, soft news are the stories which belongs to entertainment, lifestyle, art and culture, fashion, sports or any human interest story. Sources of news. For a journalist, having a news sense is the most important thing at the time of news gathering, and in journalistic terms we call it nose for news. It means that we are flooded with the information around us, and the journalist should have an ability to find out which information is important and which is not. Being a journalist, it is his responsibility to understand the value and importance of the information and to present it before the audience in the best possible way. Whatever news report we are seeing on the television is completely based on the knowledge and the understanding of the reporter. Whenever a journalist gets the information, the first and foremost step is to find out the facts of the story. After cross-checking the facts and collecting the information, he then writes down the story, takes the videos or the shots of the related incident, edits the story and then gives it for the broadcast. Now let us discuss the sources from where a journalist gets the information. Well, there are various ways through which a reporter can find out a story. Finding a news story can be broadly categorized into three categories. First, getting the information from the news agencies. Secondly, getting the information on the basis of observation. And third, getting the information on the basis of documentation. The most common way to get the news story is from the news agencies. News agencies are the most important and reliable sources of the news. We have different national and international news agencies who gather the news and news materials and distribute it to different groups of news enterprises, that is news channels and news portals. It collects the information from different areas and share it to the news channels on an immediate basis. Among the international news agencies, the largest agency is Reuters, as it has more than 70 bureaus around the world. Other global giants include Associated Press and Worldwide Television News, supplying news to around 1,000 broadcasters. The major news agencies in India are Press Trust of India, United News of India, Asian News International, Hindustan Samachar and Samachar Bharati. Observation based information. A journalist also gets the story on the basis of his observation in his daily life. A life is full of ideas. You only need to find it out, and that can be done only when you are a keen observer. For a field reporter, the news is always based on the personal experience and observation he does in his daily life. Personal experience. For example, during the second wave of corona pandemic, the situation was really worse in India. Cases were very high in number, whereas the people were very much confused about the real situation of medicines and the infrastructure of the hospital. In between, when many of the television journalists got infected and were admitted to the hospital, while being there for the treatment, they observed the real situation there and have forwarded the information to the colleagues so that the real situation can be informed to the people. Some of the journalists also approached the medical staff and the relatives of the patient admitted in the hospital and interviewed them to find out the real situation of the medicines, the treatment of the patients, and about the infrastructure available in the hospitals. All these were fact checked by the journalist and then presented in the form of news through their channels. While talking to someone, based on the observation in the daily life, a reporter can also get the news while talking to someone. During the discussion, he might get some interesting incident of his life or any of his experience which he believes will be interesting if shared to people. Victim or people at the crime location. Another observation can be like, suppose if any crime happens at some place and the reporter visited the location to get the information, then in this case the victims and the people who witnessed that crime may become his source of information. A journalist can easily talk to these people and can find out the details related to the 5W 1H concept, which can further structured as a news story. Police sources or contact in legal firm. Sometimes the police can also be the source of information when a journalist gets the information directly from the police. For any unwitnessed crime or incident, a journalist can get all the details of any incident or crimes that happened somewhere from the police station. Similarly, to get any update on an ongoing legal procedure, if you have contacts in the leading legal firms, you can definitely get hold on any minor or major related to the concerned cases. Personal contacts. Your personal contacts like your friend, your colleagues or your relatives can also become a source of information. For example, if your friend, colleague or the relatives lives nearby the area where the incident or the crime has happened, they will become a source of information. You can collect all the details from them and then contact and finally come up with a new story. Attending events. Attending any event can also appear as a source of information. When a journalist attends any event, he gets an opportunity to observe people around and to read and understand any of the reactions that triggered during the event. It can also give an idea of a news story. Listening habits. Sometimes your listening habit can provide you with the information on a first-hand basis. For example, while traveling in a bus or in a train, you might get some newsworthy information from the conversation of your co-passengers. If you are a good listener and keep your ears open, you will grab the opportunity to pitch that story. Interview. Conducting an interview is the best way to get the information. An interview can be conducted in two ways. It may be a structured interview or an unstructured interview. A structured interview is a planned interview where a journalist prepares a proper questionnaire based on the issue or the person for which the interview is scheduled. While conducting the interview, the facts are collected from the answers of the interviewee, which becomes helpful in developing a new story. An unstructured interview is a sudden or unplanned interview which is taken mostly in the case of breaking news. That is, an incident which happens suddenly and you get no time to prepare yourself. In this case, journalist reaches the location, identify the people from which he can get the information and talk to them. This type of interview is called unstructured interview and generally termed as vox pop. Follow the lead, monitoring radio, TV programs or digital platforms. It is well said for the journalist that they have to keep their ears and eye open every time. Regular monitoring of radio and TV programs may give you and your team an idea of some story to pitch on. Being in a digital era, it is very easy for us to convey any information using various digital platforms or social networking sites. So, this can also be a source of information for the journalist. You might get some first-hand information on which you can work further. You may check the authenticity and the accuracy of the information and then prepare a report to broadcast that story. Through searching information on advanced Google or using Twitter hashtag thread or a Facebook community, social networking sites can help you to find the original sources of the stories, new case studies, contacts and pictures. Challenges is only to find out that it is genuine and the people is authentic. Document based information. Receiving any information in the form of document can be considered in this section. For example, receiving information in the form of a press release, official briefing or a statement from PROs, public sector and private sectors. Press briefs, handouts from PROs, report and statement. It includes all the legal and public announcement done in the form of providing the press briefing, issuing press release or handouts, receiving any official statement from the authority or the representative of the organization. All these documents can come up with the major updates or developments that is not yet been made public. These are the first-hand information received from the concerned organization or representative. For example, in the NCB case in which Riya Chakravarti was interrogated, Sameer Wankhede, Zonal Director of NCB, used to come on a regular basis to provide an official statement from NCB. Press conference. Most of the time, journalist gets the newsworthy information by attending the press conference. Press conference is an event conducted by the concerned organization where they officially announce or share the new information related to their organization, their campaigns, their products or any related cases. The information received in the press conference is said to be more accurate and authentic as it comes straight from the organization. So, it can be shared further to the audience without any if and but. So, it is said to be one of the most reliable source of news gathering. For example, during pandemic, Ministry of Health and Welfare along with Ministry of Home Affairs collectively used to conduct a press conference to give the real updates regarding the cases in the country. Also, you can see chief ministers of the state conducting a press conference to brief about the new guidelines going to be applicable in that particular state. During the press conference, the information can be provided in the form of press release, handouts, announcements, or conducting an interactive session with the reporters. Public meetings. This is kind of meeting held with public and conducted by different political parties in the form of rallies. Through attending these public meetings, reporter can get various information related to the agendas, the strategies, the goals, etc. of any political party. Sometimes the public meeting can be arranged for various campaigns initiated by different organizations. Parliament and assemblies. Some of the selected reporters or journalists get a chance to attend the parliamentary assemblies proceedings. There, they get first-hand information related to different decisions and budget taken at national level. Let us discuss what should we do if we get out of ideas. Many a times, journalist faces a major challenge, that is, of not having any idea to work on. The editorial team might ask you to present an idea or story to be broadcasted in some stipulated time, and you are like, I don't have anything. At that time, you may follow these guidelines and see the magic. Explore and remember people. When you are out of ideas, look for someone who has interesting story. People are always interested to know about other people's life. You may explore and get some ideas for the story. Brainstorm every topic. Every idea or story can lead to another. You just need to work on those ideas. Brainstorm it and you can get another idea for developing a story. For this kind of practice, you can also take the help of brainstorming or mind mapping apps. Check the mock. Here, if I say mock, it doesn't mean that you need to write about death or the dead people. Here, I mean that go through the stories that is left behind. Check your newspaper mocks. Check out for the story that you worked sometime before. Maybe that story needs follow-up. So don't forget that the project or the assignment you worked earlier. Also, keep a keen observation on the stories done by other reporters too. It is always a good idea to make this a regular practice and put reminders on your calendar to follow up such stories time to time. Maintain an idea file. You should always store your ideas somewhere at one location. You may either write them down in a notebook or you may also clip them on your notice board, or you can also store them in a box. The idea is to store all of them at one places so that whenever you need them, you can pick it up easily and start working on it. You may also try an app like Evernote to organize all your ideas. Observe what is happening around you. This is discussed earlier also that being a reporter, you always have to keep your eyes and ears open. You can get many ideas from your daily life. You just need to be a keen observer. Eavesdrop. Eavesdropping is an act of listening to the conversation secretly. Although this is not considered as a good behavior, but if you are a journalist, then definitely this action can save you at the time of mental crisis. Be alert when you go out for a lunch or having a cup of coffee at cafe. People around you there may give you some of the ideas to pitch on. Get the habit of reading. Read everything. Reading newspaper, articles, magazines or a novel can give you ideas. Being a reader, you can also analyze the way it is being written, which will teach you the traits of good and bad writing. While reading, you may find at least 2 or 3 topics from which you may easily grab the ideas. In today's digital era, you can easily install the app and you read it anywhere, anytime. Localized national stories. Whenever you are running short of ideas, you may pick up a story which is big at national level or state level and make a new story by applying it to local level. You may approach someone who belongs to the location where the national news is occurring, or you may approach to any expert on the subject who lives in your location. The same approach can be applied to covering issues and stories on local, state and national level. Ask your audience. To know the liking of your audience, you should be aware of what they want to know about. You may connect your audience on your social media and interact them on a regular basis to get an idea that what exactly they wish to know and share. Accordingly, you can proceed further for your story. Cover an event. This point was also discussed earlier when I told you about the sources from where you can get the stories. This can also help you when you are running short of ideas or information. Since journalists are meant to be the eyes and ears of the people, which means being everywhere and all the time. Find out through your sources for the event happening around you and attend it. If not more, you will get at least one story from each event you attend. You may also promote the event if you want your audience to attend it, or if the event is interesting and more striking, you may also go to live to give minute-to-minute update. After the event is completed, you may produce a story to give the details for those who were not able to attend. So, from one event, you can produce 3 stories. Be curious like a child. Sometimes you may get fed up with the questions coming from the children of your house. Anything they see happening, they start questioning why we do so, why only this, can we do it like this, and many more. It's not only because they are trying to be annoying. Instead, they want to understand the world around them, why it is happening or how it is worked. They are curious to know about the things happening around them. TV reporters should also follow the same approach. Like a child, he should be curious to know about everything that happens around. Having this curious nature will never leave you running out of ideas. So at last, I just want to conclude with the statement that there are numerous stories waiting to be reported. You just need to find it out. And now, you know the way out. With this, we come to the end of this module. Hope this module will help you in developing the understanding of news gathering. Thank you. Take care and stay safe.